The movie opens showing a man named Bear in the middle of a confession, just not to the right person. He's at a coffee shop, running through his feelings to a woman behind the counter, telling her he's liked this girl since the day he met her, but he can't get the rest of the words out. His friend Ian cuts in from across the table and tells him to stop. That was a complete train wreck and absolutely cringe. The woman was just standing there. Bear had been using her to practice saying it to the real person, a girl named Nikki. The woman unironically liked it, and Bear is completely embarrassed. She suggests getting Nikki a gift. Ian shuts that down before she can finish the sentence. Nikki isn't that type. He sends the woman away and turns back to Bear. That was awful. Is that how you actually feel about her? He pushes Bear towards something looser, more playful, and even suggests calling Nikki by a nickname, Freaky Nikki. Bear refuses immediately. She hates that name. Ian insists he knows what he's talking about and tells Bear to just invite her for a drink tonight. Bear wants to wait for trivia night somewhere familiar, lower pressure. But Ian shuts that down too. Trivia night is Ian's thing, and Bear has had enough time to stall. He tells Bear, with the kind of certainty only a best friend can fake, that Nikki definitely likes him back. Bear leaves with a newfound confidence. It doesn't last. He gets home and finds his cat dead on the floor. He had left his medication out and she got into it. He was riding the first real good mood he'd had all week. He stands at the fridge for a moment, then closes the door and cleans the mess up alone. That evening, he's scrolling through his phone when Nikki calls. She apologizes for going quiet all day and asks if he can make it to trivia night. She has things she needs to tell him. She's leaving in 2 weeks and running out of time. He hesitates. He declines, saying he needs to catch up on some stuff. She doesn't push. She just says she hopes he can make it. He shows up that evening anyway. On the way, Bear stops to pick up a necklace for Nikki. Something else catches his eye. A small, breakable toy called a Wish Willa. The shopkeeper tells him they're collectibles, and most people who get one walk away regretting it. Bear laughs it off. Probably people who got exactly what they wished for and couldn't handle it. The shopkeeper doesn't find it funny. Bear takes the Willa off the shelf and heads out. At trivia night, Ian tells Bear to make his move. Bear follows Nikki to grab shots, and the two fall into easy conversation, the kind where everything flows and nothing needs explaining. He still doesn't say it. The rest of them join for shots, and the moment passes completely. When the night ends, Nikki says she's exhausted. Bear offers to take her home on the way. She brings up his cat and offers her condolences. He changes the subject and tells her it's going to feel strange not seeing her around. She opens up. She needs a real change, needs to actually feel something, and she's not going to find it at that job. She says he's the only person she can say any of this to. Bear isn't listening. He's somewhere else in his head. They get to Nikki's door. Before she goes inside, she mentions almost offhand that there's a guy she's had a crush on for a while, but nobody knows. The whole atmosphere changes. Bear calls her back, trying to say something, but he can't get the words out. She starts walking away. In a panic, he calls after her, "Freakin' Nikki." She stops, turns around, and tells him clearly not to say that again. Then she asks him straight, does he like her? He can't speak. She leaves.
Do you like me? Because if you do, now's the time to tell me.
I think we're good friends.
Good. Good night.
Bear sits alone in the car, unable to believe what he just did to himself. That's when he looks down and finds the Wish Willa sitting right beside him. He picks it up and breaks it. He wishes for Nikki to like him more than anything in the world. Nothing happens. Then he looks up, and she's there, standing completely still in front of her house, staring at him. Something about her is already different. She invites him inside, says they can have drinks and talk about his cat. Bear asks if she's okay. For just a moment, something in her recognizes she's acting strange. Then it's gone. She decides to follow him home instead. He tells her she doesn't have to. She breaks down crying. Her dad is dying, and she can't be alone right now. They end up at his place. She apologizes for acting weird, then makes the strangest request. She asks if he'll stay with her for the night. Not long after, things turn intimate. Then Nikki suddenly pulls away, frightened. She blames it on a panic attack. The moment collapses. That night, Bear sits alone at his computer and searches everything he can find on the Wish Willa. The internet is completely torn. Half say it's real, half say it's a hoax. None of it helps. He gives up. He wakes up the next morning and she's gone. He finds her in the kitchen, crouched over his dead cat, performing some kind of farewell ritual with the body. He doesn't ask what she's doing. They get to work not long after, and Ian pulls Bear aside the moment they arrive. Bear tells him everything. She stayed over. He's worried about her, but leaves the Wish Willa completely out of it. Ian's red is simple. Probably some drug. Get her to a doctor. The day ends, and all four of them walk out together. Bear watches as Nikki goes with Ian instead of him. He goes home and calls Ian hours later. Ian doesn't pick up. Then there's a knock at the door. It's Nikki. She apologizes, blames it on something she'd taken, and hopes they can still be friends. Then she turns back and tells him she knows he likes her and that she likes him too. She has felt that way for a while. From that point on, they are together. Good moments, movies, late nights. Bear loves every second of it. One evening at dinner, he asks how her dad is doing. She brushes it off just as Bear's phone rings. He ignores it. They talk about the next step in their relationship. It rings again. He picks up. Ian's voice is quiet. Nikki's dad is actually cancer-free, goes to work every day just fine, and, just a few weeks before any of this started, Nikki told Sarah something plainly. She only ever saw Bear as a younger brother. Bear ends the call and returns to his seat with a different face. He's about to say something when she reaches into her bag and pulls out a gift, an heirloom from her mother. She tells him she loves him more than anything in the world. Bear sets it down on the table between them. Did your dad really have cancer? Nikki stares at him for a moment. Then she starts laughing, saying no over and over, each one landing slightly differently. He calms her down. She asks why it even matters. He tells her it doesn't, but something has shifted between them and they both feel it. The next morning, she's gone from the bed. He finds her hiding in the corner of the room, refusing to move. She breaks into tears. She can feel he doesn't love her as much as she loves him.
Nikki, where are you? Nikki, what are you doing? What do you want me to do?
For Sandy, okay?
She screams anytime he tries to get up. The next morning, Bear notices something. He asks if Nikki cut his hair while he was sleeping. She admits it. He tells her not to do it again and says they need to talk about last night. She blinks at him and says she had a dream. Then she smiles slightly too long, slightly too wide, kisses him, and says she loves him. He begs her quietly. No more weird stuff. He tries to leave. The front door has been taped shut from the inside. He can see Nikki's reflection in the gap, holding that rigid smile, staring straight at the door. At work, Bear is staring at pictures and barely there when Sarah snaps him out of it. He brings up what Ian told him, that Nikki only ever saw him as a younger brother. Sarah says the whole situation feels wrong to her. She's only looking out for him. Their manager interrupts and drops a huge bill on Sarah's desk. Sheila mutters that this is what she gets for not being serious about school. Sarah leans on Bear for a moment, then notices the note Nikki had slipped into his jacket and reads it before he can stop her. It was about the cat. Bear realizes in an instant what Nikki had done with the body. He immediately begins throwing up. On the way home, Ian confronts him. From Ian's perspective, it looks like Bear is the one taking advantage. The relationship isn't healthy for either of them. He proposes a test, boys' night, just the two of them, no Nikki. Bear agrees. After Ian leaves, Bear calls the number on the Wish Willa box. They tell him what he already feared. The love isn't real. It can't be changed and it can't be reversed. As long as Bear is alive, Nikki will stay exactly like this. The man puts her on the line briefly, just to make the point. All Bear hears is her screaming. He gets home and finds Nikki in the same spot, covered in sweat and vomit. She's ashamed. She apologizes and promises to clean up while she showers. Bear confronts her about the cat. His voice shakes. He tells her she can't keep doing things like this. Then he mentions the boys' night invite. The room goes silent. He asks if she's okay with it, just him and Ian. She screams immediately. Scared, he asks if she's alright and invites her to come along to the bar instead. Nikki stays attached to Bear all night while the others try to have a normal time around them. She laughs too hard at his smallest jokes. When the group plays a storytelling game, she tells a version of Hansel and Gretel twisted into something grotesque. Every softness in the original is stripped out and replaced with something else. The room goes quiet. Bear draws a dare. He has to kiss the person next to him. That's Sarah. Nikki calmly reaches over and moves Sarah's chair out from under her, then leans in herself. Then she stands up and announces to the room that everyone here is going to die because nobody in this room has ever felt a connection like the one she has. Ian asks one more time if she's okay. She laughs and says she was just kidding. The tension doesn't go anywhere. Then Nikki grabs a broken bottle and starts driving it into herself, screaming. The room freezes. Bear is unable to move. He watches her bleed in front of everyone, then takes her home alone. He tries to reach whatever part of her is still underneath. She looks at him and says, "She's freaking Nikki."
I'm your freaky Nikki.
He tells her they need space. They scream at each other across the room. He begs her to just be Nikki. She breaks down, yelling that she'll be Nikki over and over until the words lose all meaning. Then she walks backward into the bedroom in a horrifying way. Seconds later, he hears crashing and things breaking. When she comes back out, her voice has gone somewhere far away. She says she'll be called soon. Her hands feel like sand. She speaks quietly about letting go, pain and regret slipping away, her mind getting quieter and quieter, releasing everything she once held onto until there's nothing left. The words echo, and Bear wakes up with her in his arms. He gets a message from Sarah. She wants to see him. Come now, or she's coming to him. He eases carefully out of bed. Nikki's eyes open before he reaches the door, but the voice coming from her this time is different. It's Nikki. She begs him in a whisper to just kill her. She doesn't want the other one to wake up. She just wants it all to end. Bear quietly leaves the room. He meets Sarah, who immediately asks what's going on. Bear says it's because her dad is dying. Sarah refuses that. Nikki hates her dad. She tells him this isn't his responsibility, that it's wrong for Nikki to lean on him the way she is. Unlike Ian, Sarah thinks Nikki is the one taking advantage of Bear. She tells him he needs someone else. Bear gets the hint and reaches for her before anything else. Sarah changes the subject. She tells him about a letter she got from the school she's always dreamed of going to. She hasn't opened it yet. They're both sitting with it, both smiling, when she suddenly stops. She reveals something deeper. Ian had been having an affair with Nikki all along. She thinks this whole situation was Nikki's way of getting back at him. Before Bear can respond, Nikki opens the door and brings Sarah's head down in a brutal motion. It's over before either of them can react. Then she turns to Bear, completely calm. This was his fault, his wish. Now he has to help clean it up. They move the body together. When they're done, Nikki tells Bear she'll handle the rest. He drives home alone. Sarah's bloody admission letter is sitting on the passenger seat. She got in. Bear breaks down, screaming in the car, completely undone. He goes back to the shop and confronts the attendant, furious that this man sells these things to people. The attendant doesn't react at first, but when Bear starts to break down and tells him everything that happened, the man asks what he actually did. Bear tells him. The attendant says reversing it is impossible. But there's one chance. Someone else could use a Wish Willow to free her, as long as that person genuinely wants her free. Bear grabs one immediately and makes the wish. It won't budge. He drives to Ian's place. Ian is already spiraling. Sarah has been texting him over and over to come to Bear's house, and he can't explain it. Bear lays everything out and shows him the willow. One wish left, the only one he needs. He wants Ian to use it to wish Nikki free. He tries his best explaining everything, but Ian doesn't buy it. He yells at Bear to stop playing around. Bear explains it's real and limited to only one wish. He wants Ian to wish for Nikki's freedom, but Ian wishes for 1,000 bills instead, and Bear collapses in defeat. He runs home instead of to Nikki. He finds a grotesque shrine in Sarah's body. Nikki screams at him, asking why he can't just love her. Ian follows Bear inside and tries to take her down, but she shoots him without hesitation. Bear screams that he loves her, and it's enough to bring her back down. He holds her while she fades, telling her he'll fix everything. She says they'll be together forever. Then she feels the small shake of his head, and it starts again. He locks himself in the bathroom. If he dies, the wish dies with him. Nikki goes free. He runs through every other option until there are none left. He can't bring himself to do it directly. He opens the cabinet, tips every pill into his palm, and swallows them all. Outside the door, Nikki's voice keeps repeating, soft and steady. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. He tries to throw the pills back up. Then he hears a snap from the other side of the door. He walks out smiling. Nikki had found the last Wish Willa and used it, wishing for Bear to love her the same way she loves him. They share one quiet moment together. Then he collapses. The overdose takes him. Nikki spirals, already reaching for a way to end it herself when something suddenly shifts. She comes back to herself. Whatever had been controlling her simply lifts away. Now she's sitting in the middle of everything that happened, with no way to undo any of it. She breaks down crying. And with that, the movie comes to an end not with victory, but with regret, showing how obsession, addiction, and desperation destroyed everyone caught in its path. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next recap.